Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Bobby.
You know what's quite creepy?
What?
Weddings.
Oh,
Marriage.
the creepiest.
Wedding receptions.
Why did we do
Traditions.
it? Why did we have one?
The thought of legally binding contracts of two human beings together. Isn't that creepy?
I mean, it's kind of creepy.
It is.
I know that this one's going to be an interesting one because I know that there's a lot of like bad history around weddings.
Oh, do you? You know this?
Yeah,
So
I
I
know
didn't
this.
need to do any of my research?
Nope.
Yeah. You know, all I do for research is type in one sentence into ChatGPT.
Do you mean ChatGPT research?
Yes. It's our the third person of our podcast is now
ChatGPT.
artificial.
Chad. He's Chad. Now.
Chad.
ChatGPT.
Chad intelligence. They're a very good worker.
They're a
They give
very
me-
good worker.
they give
They're
me-
very efficient and
It's cool because I can like type in my question and then I can go like, because it takes a while to like, it doesn't just like, "Choom, here's all your info." It like types it up as if
yeah.
like a fast typer is typing it. And then I can go like read something else and I go back, oh, okay, copy paste.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Copy
you.
paste, edit.
But yeah, I know that's why there's a lot of like modern day people that are like, I'm never getting married because
Because I want to be different and cool and I got to be different.
well, no, it's like because they think that it's kind of like when people say, I'm not gonna celebrate Thanksgiving because it's because it has negative connotations from its history.
Yeah, I think it's a very personal thing. For me, the way I look at marriage is it's a celebration of love and it's your commitment.
Love.
It's your commitment to another person. And that is not for everyone, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am not by any means saying everybody should get married. I am. I'm not.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, there are some people who definitely can't be in a long-term committed relationship with another person.
I just think,
Also, like, I don't think everybody should have children, even more so.
correct.
Not everybody's equipped for either thing. And that's okay.
Yeah. I think society has changed a lot. I think marriage it became part of society as a way for like people to, I guess, live and work together.
It's weird. Like, I don't know if you came up with this in your research, but like, did Chad tell you if weddings were started because of religion or because of like medieval
Chad didn't say that. I mean, I have
exchanges of goods.
I have the history. I think it's more that. Do you want to know the history of weddings? Then we can go from there. Or do you want to just
Sure. Well, I
riff
was gonna
for a
say
little
because
bit?
like certain religions haven't been around since the dawn of time. So I would assume I don't know. Well, you should know when weddings
religion
became a thing.
took it and made it a religious thing because that's what they do.
Yeah, but like
Did
I
they
know it
start
is religious now.
Yeah.
Because it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
But then if it's in the Bible, that means it existed before.
Well,
unless they just came up with
I guess, well,
okay.
ancient times.
I don't know this.
Weddings
history.
date back to ancient history with evidence of wedding rituals dating back to the Neolithic period, which is around 4300 BC to 2000 BC. So that's before Jesus.
Yeah.
So I guess weddings were established before religion.
Yes.
And then religion took it and said, this is ours now. Because the next...
I need to know that. I don't think
Well,
you
here.
did. No. Oh, okay. I was going to say
in
like...
ancient Greece, weddings were
why is that a
celebrated with a
religious thing?
religious ceremony,
Okay.
while in ancient Rome, weddings were more of a legal contract than a romantic union.
Oh.
So I think what probably happened is different areas of the world and different religions took marriage and, used it how they wanted to use it.
Gotcha.
During the Middle Ages, weddings became more of a public ceremony with guests attending a church service and then celebrating with a feast. It was
feast.
It was during this time that the concept of the bride wearing a white dress and veil was introduced.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either of those.
Of
I mean,
what?
I did love, and I chose a white shirt today with
of a
flowers.
white dress and
I don't.
Isn't that
even
supposed
though
to
I
symbolize like virginity?
Virginity, but like, why is it not the same? Why don't men have to wear a white suit if they're a virgin?
Men don't
I know
have to.
some do and have, but like, it's not a customary thing that they had to do back in the day.
Yeah.
So like, men could like be with however many women they wanted, and
marry
nobody
as
would
many as they
know.
wanted.
But if women weren't, but like also. So yeah, so like customarily, if you were like say you got married, your husband died, because that was the only way to really like get away from them at that point. Their divorce wasn't really a thing
Until death.
but like
did them
yeah,
apart.
but and then they remarried, they wouldn't be able to wear a white dress because everybody knew they
Ooh,
were.
what did they
with-
wear?
I don't know.
Black.
Black.
The opposite.
Just to remind the new husband, like
Done
what?
this already.
How messed up is that?
Yeah,
I
mean,
love the white dress. I do think that that's like, I don't know. Like, it's like, when do you ever really wear white dresses otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, as a non-female who doesn't wear white dresses, I don't know how much I can say, but I mean, I think it's. I mean, it's just.
I mean, I have them. I just like every now and then I'm
But
like, oh, I don't know.
There's
I
so
should
many.
wear
The
this.
people do weddings so differently nowadays that.
Yeah, you can wear any color dress.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
In the Renaissance era, weddings became more elaborate and extravagant, with wealthy families competing to throw the most impressive wedding celebrations.
So it's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Times.
that was yes, Game of Thrones times.
Game of Thrones times.
Red Wedding, all that kind of fun stuff.
Every time when we not rewatched, I was watching it for the first time, but every time there would be a wedding, I would be like, something's gonna happen, and
then,
something happened every wedding.
And then when it did happen, you weren't ready for it, and I knew it was coming, and you were like, "Oh no!"
I wasn't ready
until
for
like
it.
death began. During the Victorian era, weddings became more focused on romance and love, with couples exchanging vows and rings in front of family and friends. In modern times, weddings have become more personalized, with couples often opting for non-traditional wedding venues, attire, and themes.
You know this. What do I appreciate the most about
when
weddings?
you go to a wedding and you learn more about the couple and make it personal?
Hate going to a very traditional wedding. I think it's boring.
Yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And if I walk away from it, I'm like, oh, it was a wedding. Like,
it was a wedding.
There's
a bunch of religious gibberish that I didn't take in any of it, and I sat here for an hour and a half, and
I don't know. If I go to a wedding and I know that like the bride and groom put some thought into things that they love and enjoy together as a couple, then I walk away like knowing more about them and being like, oh yeah, they are meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, it should be about them, but I think because of history
and also
religion,
families getting involved,
and then it's
them
like
putting their own like wants
expectations
onto it and expectations, then it gets jumbled. I get why you would.
Yeah, I get why things, but like all things change and evolve, and now weddings, like Chad just said, have become more personal, and it's good. I think it's a good thing. I mean, if you want, like the way we did, we'll get into it more, but we did our wedding because we're not very religious people, but we had, was it Justice of the Peace? Or no, he was a priest, right?
No, he's a priest.
He's a priest.
Because my side of the family, I mean, both of your dad's side of the family is Catholic.
Yeah.
My whole side of the family is Catholic. And I grew up Catholic. So even though I'm not a practicing Catholic, it was still like a big part of our family unit that we were now marrying into one another.
We kind of appeased everyone because the religious people got to see a priest, and we did like a ceremony outside. It wasn't long, and there wasn't a lot of there wasn't many.
But
what's
funny, even though we got married by a Catholic priest and he gave us the stuff and whatever, it's still like Catholics still would not recognize our union because we didn't get married at a church, which is such a like. I mean, don't get me started. I loopholes and stuff. But like, that's such a, are you kidding me? It's like the loop. No, I'm not even gonna go into it. I was gonna say there's another loophole. I just hate that like churches and religions are so like by the books, like black and white. It's like being like in a lawyer's
until they
office.
Need to.
They're like, you know what? Even though you did everything that like a normal Catholic ceremony would do, but because you did it outside and not in our church giving us the money.
Yeah, well,
then it doesn't count. It's like as if God's going to be like, yes, you know what? I did not like if you got married outside in a church parking lot or like 5 feet into the church, like that's one thing I don't believe.
Do they have outside churches? Or no, because
not Catholic ones.
God needs to enclose you within a building.
Because God's supposed to live in the church.
He's everywhere.
And don't get me wrong, if you want to have a church ceremony, like the main takeaway I want you to have from this whole conversation is you do what you want to do for your wedding. It is your wedding.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody else, like if I didn't want any aspect of Catholic whatever in my wedding, I wouldn't have. But because I thought it was important to like our families and we are now one family, I thought it was important to like have those aspects. But and also like I believe in stuff. I believe in stuff. I believe in aspects of it, but I have lots of problems with like what's the word I'm looking for? Not industrial. There's a word. I know there's a word for it. I don't like the rigid structure of religion. Yeah. Does that make sense? Sure. Because I think that not everything is black and white.
Correct.
And thus why I took it. I like to take aspects of what I want to believe. But we're going off.
That's fine.
Well, it's about the wedding. It's like we technically, if you're religious, are not married.
That's so dumb.
Like technically in the eyes of the church, we're not married.
See, my biggest, like the thing that doesn't make sense in my brain when it comes to like religion and that is that there's more than one religion. So like.
Yeah. And into those religions, we are also not married.
I know, but.
So I guess it's just all
when
around.
do people take a step back and look at it with more like open mind, like, oh yeah, this really doesn't make any sense. It's like, if you want to believe in a religion and follow its rules, then that's fine.
You can't.
No, I'm saying like but you got to realize it's, I don't want to get into it. It's just, it's crazy.
You're going off track.
I know we're going off track a little bit. But you know, like we said, it does.
But like weddings have roots in religion.
Yeah.
Now,
and I mean, that's kind of like.
Which I also like, there's different things for like Jewish weddings, or we went to an Indian wedding.
Yeah.
Like, and everything's everybody has customs that come from either their culture or their religion, or I think that's great.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
It's unbelievable. It's a little inside joke.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite weddings still though.
Yeah. My friend Dan, he got married to an Indian woman, and that wedding was incredible. It was awesome.
They know how to have a good wedding.
They partied. They celebrate.
It was extravagant and
wonderful to see, because it's ties into their religion, but it's also more like about just like celebrating the occasion. It's like a 2-day event. Like it's a whole it's not like a inconvenient. Like I feel like a lot of people also hate weddings. I love weddings. So silly. Like, I love it. You don't want an excuse to like get dressed up nice and eat and drink for free. Well, not for you're giving a gift, but like which is technically you're paying for it. But like if you were going to a wedding every single day, I could get being like annoyed and tired of it. But when you go to like a few a year and it's friends and family that you like or love or whatever it may be, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I guess if it's a wedding and you hate your family that's involved, then sure, you wouldn't like going to
But at that time, then that's more on you than whatever. Do you want to know why we have weddings?
I thought you just told me.
No.
Oh, okay.
Chad has more to say.
Chad has more to say about
weddings. Weddings are a way for two people to formalize their commitment to each other and publicly declare their love and intention to spend their lives together. Weddings are often seen as a way to unite two families, which I feel is definitely more of like an old school thing.
Yeah. I don't think you need to unite families.
Yeah. That's definitely more.
That'd be like
old school
my
tradition.
Siblings now hanging out with your siblings just because we're like, I feel like modern days, like people don't really, I don't know.
It for sure happens, and like it is cool to see like families get together more and become friendlier, but I think that's more of a Game of Thrones kind of thing.
Game of Thrones.
Weddings create legal ties between two individuals, providing them with legal rights and protections that may not have existed before, such as inheritance rights, property ownership, and the ability to make medical decisions for one another.
That's where I think wedding/marriage is the most important.
Yes. Especially if you're having like a family.
Especially if you have children.
Yes. I think, and that's why for me, when people are together and they've been together for a long time and they don't want to get married, or like they've been engaged for a long time, that's where to me,
for me, if we never got married, say you had like, I don't know, a horrible accident.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
And you were in the hospital, your mother would have the right to make all the decisions for you, not me.
Yeah.
And that seems weird to me, even though like she is your mother, but she hasn't lived with you or like been with you on a day-to-day basis since you were 18? Went to college?
Yeah.
So like in this time in your life right now, I feel like I know what you might want more than like your mom.
What do I want? You don't have
we haven't talked about
No.
I would have to assume.
I like the idea of,
even though like I would have input from your mom, I wouldn't just be like, you know what I'm going to do. But if you were in a bad situation where like your mom was a terrible person and just took control of everything, I have no rights because we never got married.
Yeah.
Like that's a scary situation.
Yeah. And especially like with kids, and if you don't have all that documentation set up, it feels weird because you're like industrialized. That's not the right word, but like.
It's weird because you feel like, if you were like living together and you had children together, that you should have, but then it gets muddy. It's like, well, what was your relationship with your partner? If you weren't married, like what if it was bad? Like I get why it's in place because you have to make the conscious decision to be like, I'm going to marry this person, which is also why I don't know how people just get married. And they're like, you know what? I've known you for 6 months.
Oh, like quickly get married?
Quickly, or just get married because they're like, that's just what I'm supposed to do next. And like, I'm comfortable. Like, if you don't think you should get married to somebody, like, don't get married to somebody.
Especially because
it is the hardest thing to get.
And I think it's mostly America, but like 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That too.
And like, I'm sure it's probably shifted a little bit.
It has. It's gotten better because either people wait longer to get married.
Yes.
Or they wait till they're older, or they don't get married at all.
Yes. I think waiting to get married is very important. Not everyone has to do that, but I think what happens is a lot of people change. I'm not the same person I was when I was 21 or 18 or when I was younger. Well, that's what I learned is
everybody changes.
Exactly.
And you just have to hope that you're with somebody that's either going to change with you or be okay with that change and that your dynamic still works.
Yes. And I think a lot of people like in the past and probably still got married for religious reasons and then
or had kids and felt they had to.
Yeah. Or they grew apart and they're like, oh, I don't want to be with this person. Or I was, if you're with someone for a short period of time and you weren't living together and then you get married and start living together and you're like, oh man,
well, that's why so many people broke up during the pandemic or got divorced because
they
had never had a life where they were both together all the time and they realized, oh, I don't like this other person.
I think it's very telling in terms of how we look at marriage. And I think it speaks onto how we look at or how we should look at like gay marriage and other different types of marriages. It's
like not all marriages. That's why I never understood the opposition to gay marriage because it's because the main thing was they were always like, well, it's gonna impede on like marriage between a man and a woman. It's like, no, do you know how many messed up marriages between men and women? Like that's not.
It has no effect on other people. It has no
effect on it.
If
anything, they might have better marriages than yours.
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that
why
you're upset?
To break it down simply, if two gay people are in love, but for laws and rules are not able to be married, and they have to spend their whole lives not saying this is, my husband or my wife or whatever it may be. Like, come on, it's
so weird. If you are in a long-term committed relationship with anybody, you should be able to get married and have the same protections and laws apply to you.
Yeah.
It does not matter. What does it matter?
It's definitely changed.
It's definitely gotten better.
A lot. It's not where it probably needs to be. I'm not too on the up and up on it. And I know there's some states that probably are trying to get rid of it, which is absurd to me, how a lot of states are trying to roll back things. But take a step back and look at it. It's like, why? Why are we doing
When you look at it from a legal standpoint, it doesn't make any sense to not allow gay marriage.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's a religious thing.
And the people that like, oh, well, they can't have kids. It's like, well, they can adopt.
But also there's couples that get married and never want to have children or can't have children.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the difference?
That's the thing too, is that people who use the argument of children, it's like you just said, people don't want or can't have or can't have kids, then they adopt or don't adopt.
Well, I remember I heard that argument from Ben Shapiro saying that's why he's against gay marriage because they can't reproduce.
Yeah.
And so then somebody said well, what about couples that either choose not to or can't?
Yeah.
And he basically said well, if you choose not to, that's also a sin and that's wrong. You're supposed to very religious people believe that you are supposed to have children. It doesn't matter if you want them or not. That's your main goal is to have children, and then like bring them into the church.
Yeah, I mean, but that was like,
but then
that's
then
a very old mentality. I mean,
I know.
I mean, you
I'm
can
just
jump back.
saying
You can jump back 100 years, which isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, and we needed more people. We needed kids.
But then when it was brought up, like, what about couples who like just biologically can't have children?
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, they could adopt, and it's like, okay, well, so can people in gay marriages? Like, you just did a full circle. Like, that can't be your reason. What's your next reason?
Yeah. 2 more points from Chad here.
From Chad.
To kind of go along with what we've just been saying is weddings can be a way to uphold cultural or religious traditions, with many weddings incorporating customs and rituals that are meaningful to the couple and their families.
Totally fine.
Which is, again, or to say, like, if you are religious and you want that to be a part of your wedding, more power to you. I just think it becomes an issue when you're like forcing it onto others. And perhaps, I like this part, perhaps Chad, every now and then Chad says some good stuff. Perhaps most importantly, weddings are a way to celebrate love and the joy of finding someone with whom to share your life with.
Oh.
Which I think in the end is the most important part. Because no one wants to be, I mean, most people don't want to be lonely or alone. And to have someone that is with you.
Legally bound.
Is legally bound, but just...
I think, stay with you.
Yeah, I think it's very important. That's why
it also leaves people to like try to work on things instead of just being like, yeah, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that like everything can be fixed, because 1,000% it can't, like, not everything can be fixed.
Yeah, I just saw this.
But it's a little harder to walk away without trying.
I just saw this video online of this couple who I think they were like in their 80s and they've been married for 60 something years, and they were discussing again how like 50% of marriages end in divorce, and he had said then that that's mostly America. I don't know the stats worldwide. And he was kind of, I mean, the long and short of it, he was saying that like what happens is a lot of couples, they get into an argument or they have different view, whatever it may be, and then they divorce because they don't want to work at it or something. And he was saying how like we've had problems and issues, but we work on it. We work, but I think some people, like you said, just can't, they don't have the wants to work on
like
it.
Every time, if somebody was ever going to tell me they were giving up on their marriage, my first question would be like, have you gone to couples therapy or couples counseling or therapy?
Yeah.
If you've gone to that,
especially if you have kids, like Blink-182 says, stay together for the kids.
And this is obviously excluding any sort of abusive relationship. I don't think there's any, if somebody is physically or even like mentally abusing you. But again, if you went to therapy, you would start to learn that, oh, that's not okay. That's not normal. Because a lot of people just think that's how relationships go sometimes, instead of being like, oh, wait, no, normal other couples don't do this. This is not my fault. Okay.
It's been interesting as I've like lived to see how different marriages are. I've seen people who are in like super happy marriages, and you can just tell like, oh, they're like, they're a
but then
team.
There's also sometimes you'll look at people and you'll be like, there's no way they're happy. But then like you're around them and you're like, oh no, like I guess this works for them.
Yeah.
That's what's weird. Like you could look at a couple on the outside and be like, there's no way they could be happy. Yeah. And then you're like, but they actually could be. Yeah. You don't know. And same thing, they could look happy. Thing is, everyone's and not be different. Happy.
And that's why I think like some people, how we talked about before, like COVID and people having to be together, like ruined or forced marriages apart, is because a lot of people probably, they have their significant other and then they go to their job, they do their thing, and they see them for a little bit, and that works for them. Like that's that's like when we talked to like your cousin and husband before, they said they would never be able to work together because they would just fight all the time. And that was back when we were working together. We've always worked together and we're fine with that. But like, not to say that every couple can work together. They can't. Oh, for sure.
Like, but yeah.
We thankfully are very similar and like-minded, so we don't.
Yeah, but we're also different. We're different, and we don't. The differences that we have, we're not like
stubborn about them.
We're not that, but like don't want the other person to change. Like, like you like going backpacking and camping and whatever, and like that's not my favorite thing to do. But every now and then I'll try to do something that's related to it. But you would never be like, oh my God, I wish I was with somebody that was like I feel like when you put your own, just like I'm doing YouTube and stuff and you're kind of like out of that sphere, I would never be like, oh my God, I wish you were like a YouTuber and like in this with me. Like,
well, it's good. You have to be you have to be your own person. You have to still, but you just you learn.
But like support the other person. Like if you want to go on a backpacking trip, I'm like, yeah, totally. Like I'll watch Melody.
You learn.
It's something you enjoy and like, and same goes for me. Like
you learn how to like you learn how to like divide your time. And
Yeah.
And the most important thing is like communicating with your partner and saying, hey, I want to go on this backpacking trip in a month. And then you schedule it, and then you plan around it. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
not,
if I came back and was like, no, that's a bad time for me, you wouldn't just be like,
Well,
oh,
too bad.
figure it out.
yeah.
Like, okay, we'll go a different week.
Yeah.
What about this one? Like, and same. It's like, we're about to start doing a marriage advice podcast.
Sure.
The biggest things I find, specifically when people are having problems with their relationships, is they're not communicating to
That's
one
the most
another.
important thing.
They might be communicating to their friends or
Mhm.
other people they know and like complaining about the other person, but never actually bringing it up to the other person. Also, trying to talk to another person without emotion is also a good, and being like, hey, oh, it's always you have to use I sentiment, not, so like, instead of saying you did this thing that made me mad, you're supposed to say, I was really hurt when, when you did this thing.
Yeah.
How do we like work
Describe
together
how
and
it
not
made
have that
you
happen
feel.
again?
Not blaming someone.
Yes, thank you.
You're not pointing out the faults.
This is like textbook communication.
Yeah.
It's like if you go at somebody, they're going to become defensive. That's their normal that's anybody's normal reaction. But if you instead go at it with like how you felt about what they did, then it's a different shift and you can usually talk easier. So that being empathetic, I feel like, is a big one. Just like being understanding and empathetic of another person.
Absolutely.
On a day-to-day basis. And also learning how to pick your battles.
Yeah.
This is another big advice.
Don't
go after every little thing that annoys you.
And that's something that's definitely the thing that you learn with time, and like when to say something, when not to say something. But in the end, the most important thing, and what I tell people who like ask me about marriage and stuff, it's like communication. Communicate is the most important thing.
There's so many people that are like scared to talk to their significant.
Yeah,
and I get
insane.
it. Like there's definitely been topics I was like nervous to talk to you about, but it didn't keep me from talking about it. I was just like, oh, I gotta bring this up.
Yeah.
And it's not often, but like, and usually it's fine. And I was worried for nothing.
Yeah.
But I feel like some people just get so worried. They're like, I don't want to go through this. I'm just not going to say anything. But then instead, everything just piles up to where you get to a point where all this stuff that you're mad about that you never talked about just keeps going. And then that
one little thing happens and it's the catalyst for
it makes it way worse than it could have been if you just talked about it.
Yeah.
Or the best is like, not the best, but like a lot of people will just like endure it.
Yeah.
Because they're just like,
what else am I going to do?
What else am I going to do? Or and I will say that I definitely know of people that have talked to me that said like, I talked to my husband about this and he was just like not having it or got mad at me like so many times. I've luckily never had that with you. I can't think of a time where I said, hey, you did this thing that like upset me, or like, why did you do that? That was like not nice. And you were like, oh, you're being over dramatic. I don't think you've ever done that to me in like a serious sense. So I appreciate it. But there's a lot of people on both husbands and wives, or just boyfriend, girlfriend, anything.
Yeah. No, I see it with my friends and like examples of where I can tell like they didn't communicate well with their wife or partner.
Oh yeah, every time if there's like an argument or somebody's mad at somebody else, I'm like, well, did you tell them?
Yeah.
This? And they're like, no.
Yeah. Which again, like we said,
they're not a mind reader.
Communicating, and that's the most important aspect, in marriage and in
life. Or
life.
if somebody's like, they should just know. Like, no.
Yeah,
no, not they're no.
They don't know how you feel. They shouldn't just know.
Yeah,
you have to let them know. You have.
And
to.
I've definitely been the person to think that way from time to time, and in the past too. It would be like, oh, why would they do that? They should just know not to do that. And I'm like, no, I should. I don't want them to keep doing that, I'm gonna have to say it. That's like any relationship though, not even marriage.
Friendships. Exactly. What was the first wedding you ever went to?
The one that I remember the most is probably my sister's.
Yeah.
And I was like 10.
Yeah.
And all I remember is that I was in the bridal party and I was sad because I was like excited to be in the bridal party. But then when the wedding came, all my cousins were playing on this like playground that was like on the other side. And I remember her picking that venue and being like, it's so great because all my younger cousins can like go play on this playground. And I wasn't allowed because I was in the wedding party and I had to sit at the table and
10?
take pictures. I was 10.
You sure?
Yeah, she got married at 18.
She's 8 years older than you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You didn't know.
I thought it was like 6.
No, 8.
Whatever.
So, yeah,
Only
I
a
was,
couple
around 10.
years.
I was around 10.
Yeah. Yeah, the first wedding I can remember is my friend's mom got remarried. And how old was I? Trying to remember.
Oh, I was gonna say, I remember. My sister will probably laugh at this, but I not obsessed, but like I thought we got videotapes of her wedding, and it was like one of those old school videotapes where they had like magical music and like transitions, and they made it look like a fantasy love story.
Yeah.
And I remember we would rewatch it over and over, and I would be like, "Oh my god, what a fantasy love story!" And like we would go to her house, and I'd be like, "Can we please watch your wedding video?"
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was this VHS. It was like a 2-set VHS.
You know what's
tape.
crazy? You know what's absolutely crazy is how much money it costs to have your wedding filmed in photography
and photography
and photographied.
Photographied.
And honestly, besides the one picture that we have hanging in our house,
we have the album, but we haven't like.
We have the album, which we've looked through like.
Well, who knows? Maybe Melody.
I know. I get it's for like.
I want to see your wedding.
And our video, we've like maybe rewatched once or twice. We probably rewatched it like shortly thereafter the wedding, but
yeah, that's why they make them shorter.
Besides like Ian's best man speech that I like edited.
That you show your friends. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta put that. Put that on my computer.
It's crazy. It was a lot. It cost a lot.
I know, and it was a short. They ended up doing like a. So for anybody who hasn't had a wedding recently, but they like my sister's was like I think like a 4-hour long thing.
Oh my God, they didn't edit at all, did they?
No, they did. So the first video was all edited with like music, transitions and stuff. And then the second video was like the reception, but they went around and interviewed every single person and just left the full interview of everybody like saying,
I hope you have a great life together.
Yeah.
Remember, happy wife, happy life.
That's exactly what it was.
I'm sure.
But we did like rewatching that because we would like poke fun at like our family members for things that they said or what they were doing or whatever. Good times. But then ours is like a highlight reel.
Yeah,
kinda.
which is cool. That's what you can sit down and watch and not watch. I don't know.
4 hours.
A thought that popped in my head. Yeah, my friend, I was young.
Chrissy, we have to rewatch your wedding video.
My first wedding experience was very unique because they were remarrying. I think it was her second, like my friend's mom's, that was like second time she got married. And I think it was the guy's like third, maybe. I can't remember exactly. So their wedding was very different. It was at their house and they entered on a fire truck that me and my friend painted.
What?
Yeah, we like painted it. It was
a real fire truck?
This guy was very unique.
Are they still married?
No.
Oh. Okay.
They are not married. They were together for a while, I think.
Yeah.
But no.
But no.
It was a very unique wedding and very different. And then my first not real, but like traditional wedding was my cousin's, and that was in 2010.
That's crazy, because didn't I know you then? That was 13 years ago.
It was 10-10. Yeah.
Maybe it was right before.
It was right. I think we had just started working together because I think we started in like August of September of 2010.
Yeah.
Because that was probably that semester of college.
Damn, how much time has passed? I mean, I'm sure I went to a wedding before my sister's because I have such a big family.
I don't come from a big family.
A lot of the weddings from my family, I do remember they invited no children. And I do remember one wedding my mom and dad went to, and I was mad because I think one of my cousins was there as like the flower girl. Whatever. Why was they invited?
Yeah,
they're part of the wedding party.
Yeah, and I caught the garter.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I think I do remember.
And I drank a lot. I was very drunk because I was like 20.
The garter was something we did not have at our wedding. Oh yeah. So should we talk about our wedding?
Yeah. We got married and it was fun. We had a great time.
I say I don't want to go through like the best and worst weddings because I don't know who's listening. For the most part, I'd say like there hasn't been a wedding that I've
really enjoyed all the weddings that you and I have been to gone to.
Your wedding intake has probably gone up substantially since.
Yeah. Well, also like all my friends have gotten.
Well, you have all your friends, which all got married around the same time.
Yeah.
Because they were around the same age. And then you have all my family that has a bunch of extra weddings
cousins
now. Cousins and yeah. But yeah, I don't even know where to start with our wedding.
We got married in August of 2016.
Version. Yeah.
I proposed to Lauren in Central Park on our dating anniversary.
Oh.
We got married at a ski resort.
Yes, we did.
And I mean, it was the summertime.
In New Jersey. Yeah, yes. Summertime.
It's funny because Lauren, so I was working and Lauren,
right.
your mom and my mom went into it. And I remember like pulling up to the venue and be like, oh, it's right here. Or no, I probably think I'd found out before, but I was very
showed you like the website and stuff.
And then
you didn't realize it was right next to Mountain Creek.
I didn't realize it was right next. I didn't realize it was like smack dab in the middle of Mountain Creek. Oh, I've been coming here since I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I think you trusted me to not pick something that you would not enjoy.
I mean, we have very similar likes, and we had gone to other wedding venues that we looked at.
Yeah.
Like only one or two, maybe. We did one. We were looking at another ski resort where we had to take the chairlift up. And we're like,
we were worried about
this is really cool.
The elderly people.
But, and then it was,
and the weather was bad. You wouldn't be able to go up there.
Which ended up our weather was beautiful that day. But still, it was
fine.
It was great.
It was fine the way. Well, our main thing was we are not fans of weddings that have shuttle buses.
I hate when you go to a wedding and you go to the ceremony and then you have to
which is like the majority of weddings. I feel like have shuttle buses.
And then you have to go somewhere else for the reception and the hotel. And then if the hotel is somewhere different, if like the hotel, if the ceremony, if there's 3 different places for a wedding, you like, you are causing a big inconvenience for your guests.
If the hotel and the ceremony reception is in the same place, I'll deal with the one shuttle or just getting a car or whatever.
But when everything is in the same spot, like Stephanie's wedding,
was all in one spot.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, when they're all in one spot.
Hotel,
and like John's wedding was in the same spot there. When you have your wedding in the same location, everything's in the same spot, that's the best. Yeah. It works out, I think, the best. So if you are someone who's listening and you want some advice on planning a wedding, I highly recommend and suggest and tell you vigorously, have everything in the same location.
I will be devil's advocate to that.
Go ahead.
Because my rule is always that you shouldn't care about what your guests think. Like, you shouldn't not do something because of what your guests or family will say if you're going to like it.
Yes.
It's your day.
But so also it makes it easier for you, I think, when you have everything.
But also so on the flip side of that, if you don't listen to Bobby and you get a bunch of different locations, be prepared for people to complain about it.
And if you want to be like me and you want all your friends and family to continue telling you for year after year how awesome your wedding was, then listen to me. Because that's what people do. Everyone always says how awesome our wedding was. You know why? Because everything was in the same spot.
Well, it was also
the
helpful.
After party was in the same spot.
People that had like young kids, it was great because everything was in one spot. So like,
and it was
if your kids were like acting up or you needed to like run to the hotel room.
Yeah.
Like it was right there. You could just go upstairs for a little bit and then come back down.
I got an
change
idea.
Your shoes.
So I want you to tell the day of our wedding from your perspective, and then I'm going to go from my perspective.
Oh God.
Because our perspectives, at least like the getting ready parts.
Well, the whole morning I had to get up super early.
Yeah.
So the night before I made sure we didn't like stay up late. But
yeah,
like,
I had to be
as
responsible.
in me and my bridal party.
I also had to be responsible because I was laying in bed and my friends came, oh, come on, we're gonna go. I'm like, no, it's 12:30. I need
your friends were up late.
I should go to sleep. And I did.
That was the one thing I made.
I remember Ian was like,
"Don't get wasted."
I remember Ian was like,
the night before.
He said something along the lines like, "Oh, you're like, that's good. Like, you're being smart."
Good. I said you have all wedding day to like drink.
I'm pretty sure like Ryan, Ian, and Justin kind of came in, and I was like in bed. Like, oh, come on, we're gonna go like do whatever. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to sleep. I gotta be good for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I think Ian was like, that's like responsible of you or something.
That's responsible.
Yeah.
So that the morning, I think we had to get there at like 6 or 7 a.m. It was horrible.
Oh my God.
Because
we should go back and forth. So you woke up 6 o'clock.
Yeah. You were still sleeping.
Definitely was sleeping. I woke up, I don't know, let's say between 7 and 8. And then I ordered breakfast for all of my groomsmen and then like my dad, my brother. And we all had like breakfast in my hotel room. And then we were like hanging out, chilling, relaxing. And then my friends started like drinking a little bit. I may have had like one drink in the morning.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh yeah, we had like mimosas.
Yeah. And then where we had everything, it was at they had like a mini like water park there almost. There was like pools.
Yeah, it was a pool with like you could jump off like
yeah. So we went and like swam. Like all our guests were out there. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, we got time. We're having fun.
Yeah, he's sending me pictures at the pool. Meanwhile, we'd been up since 6 a.m. just sitting in a chair getting our hair and makeup done for hours.
It's so dumb. Not dumb, but like,
yeah,
it's
a process, and it's because there's so many of you like that have to get done by like a certain amount of people.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing. But we did order. Yeah, we had like a nice breakfast mimosa like area, so that was nice. And then then we had the ceremony.
So we start getting ready, getting dressed, and we did pictures. And
oh yeah, I forgot about that. We did that first.
And then we were drinking, or everyone was drinking, and we were like, my friends were getting pretty like buzzed, and I was restraining because I wanted to be coherent. I had like a drink or two. I wasn't buzzed or drunk or anything. And then we were like outside taking our pictures, and we were having a good time. We were being funny. It was good.
One thing I will say, a bunch of people tried to talk us out of doing the first look.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm glad I like stuck to being like, nope, this is what I want.
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't know, the first look is when you take all of your couple wedding photos before the ceremony. Because typically you'll do the ceremony, you'll go to cocktail hour, and then you'll go to dinner. So usually, like if you don't do the first look, you have to take all your photos during the cocktail hour, and you miss the cocktail hour. That's usually like traditionally that's what you do.
It's just not.
But the first look was great because we did it before everything. So then we got to go to the cocktail hour and actually enjoy the food we paid for.
Yeah. And then our photographer pulled us aside for like 20 minutes, take some really cool photos
at night.
And then that was it.
Yeah. But a lot of people were trying to talk us out of it, being like, don't you want the first time for him to see you like walking down the aisle in front of everybody? And I'm like,
this isn't a Disney fairy tale.
But also like, I'm the type of person that I don't like attention on me. So I would rather like, and also the whole reason you're getting all like, you're supposed to be like, feel the most beautiful you ever have. Like, it's technically to get married to your husband. So like, he's the main person that matters seeing you, not everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not a show. I mean, it kind of is, but like, so I didn't care because they were like, you're not going to know, like our bridal parties were there and our parents, like, that's all I care about. Those are like the closest people to us that
Have you ever seen when they do the first look and like the best man will be dressed in the wedding dress?
Yeah.
That's so fun. I was hoping Ian would do something like that.
Oh,
that would have been awesome.
And so we did the first
that.
look.
We took all our pictures.
What else was nice was we got to say hi to a lot of people during the cocktail hour. So we didn't have to spend the whole reception going around saying hi to everybody because nobody saw us during the cocktail hour. It's just, it's like,
it's much more enjoyable because a lot of people, what they'll say is the bride and groom will be like, oh, I don't remember anything for a wedding. And it all happened so quickly.
I mean, I still was very busy, but
yeah, we were busy, but I remember parts of it and I don't remember like having to like go walk around everybody. Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, we did it during cocktail hour.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, you're here now. We can come up and talk to you. It was great. Because it's more casual where everyone's just kind of standing around, having a little bite to eat, getting a drink. Everyone's like excited because you just did your ceremony.
Yeah.
It's much, if you are not someone who is like a traditionalist and is thinking that you want to do something that's different or cooler or easier, go that route. For sure.
Yeah, the first look helped a lot with us actually enjoying the wedding.
So we got married outside, and thankfully the weather
very hot,
cooperated.
And my cousin almost passed out.
It was hot. It was like in the 80s, let's say.
Yes.
It was hot. We weren't like dying out there.
No, and it was a short ceremony, so it wasn't too bad with like
Yeah. And it was funny because like I think I'm a pretty emotional person, so I'll cry at movies and Lauren will be over there stone faced.
What?
So
I just know it's fake. I know it's a fake movie.
So I was good during our wedding, and then at the end we like went over and I talked to my grandma. She's like, "Oh, Poppy," my grandpa who had passed a year before. She's like, "Oh, he would have loved this," and that like got me. And I started like, bawling, and then my cousin comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was good." And then Omi had to say that, and
grandma coming in with the
just innocently like, "Oh, Poppy would have loved this." I'm like, "Oh, I know." That was that. Then we did the reception, and we had like cool things. Because Lauren's father had passed. She did a really cool like first dance.
Yeah, I still think that was one of the coolest.
That was awesome. Did you come up with that?
I got that. No, I think I saw online somewhere that a girl had done that. I was like, oh, so I have a lot of like uncles. I have a brother-in-law. And then I have a stepdad and a now father-in-law at this point during the wedding. So my idea, instead of doing like, because you could do the sad, because at first people were like, oh, are you gonna like dance with your mom to like a song that you would have danced with him? And I was like, that sounds so sad. I was like in the middle of us having like supposed to be like the happiest day of our lives.
Yeah.
So instead, I gave like a little speech beforehand to explain to people what was going on, but I had paid somebody on Fiverr to compile like all of my dad's favorite upbeat songs because he was super into like music. So all of his favorite upbeat songs we compiled into like one mega track, and then so it was a little longer, and played that. And during the music, I had all the like old, like basically father figures in my life. Come up, including like my brother and whatever, to come up and share the dance with me. So it was cool. It was like we have cool photos from it too. It was like a circle of all of them, and I was in the center, and then they would each like take turns coming in to like
dance real quick.
Regular dance, not like slow dance or anything. They would come in real quick, do it, and then go out, and the next person would come in. It was very cool.
It was. It was a highlight.
Yeah.
And then we did another cool thing was at like towards the end, we did like, because Lauren and I loved music and like met through music. We made our own like music mix. And
like non-traditional ways.
Yeah, not like rock songs. Yeah, it'd be like one of my favorite songs, Lauren's favorite song, one of mine, like back and forth.
That is how we did it.
And we're like, all right, everyone, like, and the music was like great. We had a really awesome DJ, and it was great during it. But then we're like, all right, everyone, now we did this thing. So we're like, everyone wants to like rock out, come on up, and we like had that. It was like 7 minutes or something long, I think.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
I did lots of little touches. I don't know, like I remember thinking back to at our old house when I was doing all of it. And I was like, it's crazy. I was working my office job with the Knicks. I was with the Knicks then, right? No.
Yes, because I was on Wall Street.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yes, and that's why we only did the honeymoon for a week.
2 weeks.
So I was working the office job. We had just finally, I think.
I had a dream about that. I have dreams every now and then about my old job at Wall Street and my boss. And I had a dream. I was back there again, but he was like, super nice and was giving a speech about how like everyone, I want you to like communicate with me, and like it was so weird. Anyway,
interesting.
Sorry.
Well, at the time I was what's it called? Yeah, I was working with the Knicks, which was like between 40 and 60 hour work weeks.
Yep.
I was doing YouTube, but it was like a part-time, like had just started. Like I think I was 2 years in at that point. And then maybe 3 years. And I was planning the wedding, and I was doing everything myself. Like I think the only people I paid to do stuff was the Fiverr music stuff. Everything else I like found on Etsy, printed out, like cut everything out. And what we did was our centerpieces, I was also very proud of, which we found these like terrarium things, like these glass enclosed terrariums. And we had the florist put like succulents and all different things in it. And it was there was a little note that went along with each one. And it was basically supposed to be like Central Park, because that was where that's where we got engaged, was in Central Park. So that was no nice touch. And everybody got to take one home. Not everybody, whoever like
at the table
wanted it, got to take it home. And we still have
one
that somebody left. I remember your aunt and uncle your aunt was really excited. She's like, we can take these. I was like, yeah, you can take it. It was a nice enclosure thing. Nice. Yeah, that was another little touch. Oh, each table had a musical number. Like each one had a number. And it each had a lyric from like one of our favorite songs of each like band.
Yep.
I think there was 12 of them. That also, I designed those myself.
Didn't you design our save the date?
I did. It was a lot of work.
Yeah. It would look like a concert ticket.
Oh, that's right.
A magnet.
It was a magnet concert ticket we still have upstairs.
It's very cool.
Yeah. See, that's because that's important to me, is little details. But if it's not important to you, then don't feel like you have to do it at your wedding.
So we had the reception, had a lot of fun, and then we went
a lot of dancing.
Then we went upstairs to the bar at the after party.
Oh yeah,
the first after party.
Don't tell any personal stories. I don't know who's listening.
We had a lot of fun.
Not us, our friends. It's stuff that happened.
Our friends had a lot of fun as well.
Our friends had too much fun.
And then we went to the second after party in our hotel room.
Yeah.
And it was on the like first floor of this, it was like
I saw people were like, you don't want to be alone on your wedding night. And I was like, we live together. I see him alone all the time. I would rather hang out with all you guys. I don't see you guys all the time.
We were up to
we have a honeymoon for a week. We're good.
And we were like partying and we were outside. So where the room was, went outside and there was the hallway. There was like a big glass window so people could like walk by and see us hanging out. We had, like, random people coming and like hanging out with us. And then we went to bed at like 4 o'clock and woke up at 8. I remember I was
dying the next day. And then we were supposed to, then we had to leave for our honeymoon like the next day after that.
Yeah. Well, if we got married on a Saturday, we left on a Monday.
Yeah.
We had like Sunday.
If I had it differently, I mean, I know we had to do it that way because of work and stuff with taking off. But if I had to do it differently, I would say space out your leaving for your honeymoon a couple days after your wedding, because I remember we went home. Remember, like Yami and Kyle had to come. They came back to our house to wait for their car because their flight wasn't until later, which was fine. We hung out with them. But then by the time they left, we were running on like no sleep.
Yeah, we were dead.
And we had all the flowers at our house. I was like, we can't leave all this food and flowers out. It's all going to go, like when we get back to the house, it's going to smell like death in a week. So we had to like do all that. I had to make sure we were packed. I was dying by the time we got to our like on the flight.
I mean, the honeymoon was amazing, but.
That's another little tip. Don't go on your honeymoon like immediately after your wedding because you should take some days to like wind
should definitely
down
take like
and relax.
Like I would have left on a Tuesday. So like we got married on Saturday, then it's the day after Sunday, and then like take a full day off Monday.
An extra day to just do nothing.
I'm saying a full day off Monday and then leave on Tuesday. I think that would have been good.
Yeah.
Because Sunday we were obviously exhausted.
Yeah.
And then we could have Monday to like recuperate.
And get everything.
And then get ready and
then
leave Tuesday morning. I think that would have been.
Yeah.
But you can't always do everything you want.
But honestly, I don't have any other regrets for our wedding. I loved my dress. It was comfortable the whole time. That was what's funny. I went to go get my wedding dress and they ask when you first get there, like, oh, like what do you have in mind? What's most important to you with your dress and whatever. And I said I want it to be like not strapless, no strapless dresses. And I want it to be comfortable. And she was like, that's a first.
Yes.
Like that's your main priority.
Yeah.
I was like, yep. I was like, that's it. And then
I want to look like a princess.
I hate strapless dresses. I think it's very rare that it looks really good on somebody.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Like
you have to pull it up all night. You're like,
I feel like you have to be like a very fit person.
Yes. But also like, or some people are like, oh, you have to have like a chest to make it look good. No. If anything, it makes it look worse because they're just drooping.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're like trying to get it up. And then if you have like smaller chest, I feel like it makes you look even smaller. Like there's so much more flattering dresses. It makes me so mad. Strapless dresses are not flattering.
They want to show them shoulders.
And I will say the past, like recently, what?
I was gonna say it's so God can put his hands on your shoulder and
oh my God.
Skin to skin.
I know it's like a traditional wedding thing. I get it. If you like it, sure. This is definitely just a personal preference of mine. But I will say in recent years, almost every wedding I've been to, they haven't had a strapless dress. So I think it's like maybe going out of style.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I was before my time. Yeah, literally, we went there and there was so many dresses that they had that were strapless, so it really narrowed it down.
Oh, non-strapless? All right, we got like 4 of them over here.
It really narrowed it down.
That's good.
Which made it easier, but I loved mine.
Yeah, I remember like...
Yeah, there's no other regrets, I think.
No.
Besides
I
the
enjoyed
honeymoon.
my suit.
I wish we took a longer honeymoon, but again, that was dictated by us both having jobs where we couldn't take off long.
That would have been nice.
And waiting at least an extra day in between.
I was happy with where we went, for sure. Definitely could have spent more time. I want to go back there. 10 days. I feel like 10 days is the minimum you need for like a good long vacation honeymoon. A week, it goes too quick.
It's just sad because it's like you only get to take a honeymoon once.
Yeah.
Well, it was dictated by work. Ideally,
yep. And then I get back to work. And then I get back to work and people are like, oh, you're back already? I'm like, yeah, y'all, you asshole said I can only take a week off. So dumb.
At any wedding, my favorite part of the food situation is cocktail hour every time.
Yeah.
I will and you only have it for an hour. So I just try to go. I
remember Cody and Blight's wedding was a good cocktail hour.
Yes.
There was really good food there.
I remember we always have like a home base.
Obviously John and Nicole's and Stephanie's because that venue they have like
incredible. There's a martini ice slide.
Yeah.
There was like it was like Asian cuisine and then like I think they had like a taco, like Mexican cuisine, and then they had like Italian, and they had like the seafood area. Oh my God. And some people do like the mashed potato martini glasses.
Mashed potato bar.
I'm all for cocktail hour.
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing.
I feel like cocktail hours should be cocktail 2 hours.
Yes.
Should be.
Cut the wedding down.
Because
I want the cocktail hour.
Yeah.
To be longer.
You know what's funny? How like
it's also where people are drinking the most, I feel like.
Yeah. It's and that because then when you go into the reception, it's always it's loud and you can't talk to people.
People want to dance, then you want to eat, then you have to wait in line for the mini bar if you want. Whereas cocktail hour, there's usually like more bars and they already have them out, and they're bringing around drinks for you that are already made sometimes.
It's funny the meme about how like the best man speech is always like really good and really funny, and then the bridesmaids is always like, I've known Lauren for 10 years.
Oh my God, can I tell you?
Yeah, do it.
Can I do it? I have not. Besides my sisters. My sisters
was very good.
But what's funny is when the guy that was or the DJ, he was like, okay, so we're going to have the best man speech and then we're going to have your sister's speech. And I was like, no. I was like, we have to change that order around. And he's like, oh, why? I was like, because I know my sister and she's very sentimental. And I know that and I said, also our dad is passed. So I guarantee that's being brought up. I said, and she's very good at writing, so she is going to make people cry. I would rather do the crying sentimental thing and then follow it up with like the best man who's like, I was going to say a comedian, but not.
Yeah.
He's like the funny guy of our group.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee. So he was like, okay, good call. And it was because she did make people cry the first one. And then he followed it up and made people laugh. And then we went on to celebrate. So like it was the perfect... Hers, yeah, I did enjoy hers. She was not the standard, like, remember this?
Yeah.
There's so many bad bridesmaid speeches I've had to sit through. So many. Girls, what are you doing? Like, I've never gotten to give a speech, but for the love of God, if I ever get asked, I'm going to work so hard to make sure that is a good speech.
All I can think of now is when we went to Cody's wedding and Blythe's bridesmaids were like, I've known Blythe for like 5 years, and I audibly said, oh, that's it, and I said it way too loud.
Oh God,
I felt so bad, but it was just like a natural reaction because I was like,
not everybody has friends that they've known.
I know, I didn't mean to insult them. It was something I meant to say like to the person next to me, but because of how quiet it was, because of how terrible of a speech it was.
Oh God, ladies, if you are a bridesmaid, please don't just give inside jokes that nobody else that has hung out with you knows. You could sprinkle in one. That's fine. I'll give you that. But like if your entire speech is just
remember Mexico?
Remember that time we went to Mexico? It was so funny. It's just like, okay, nobody else knows what happened in Mexico. Do you want to tell us a cool story about it? I remember the first time Lauren met Bobby and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh God. I don't understand why it's so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a meme. It's a very real meme, though.
It is a meme. I also think because there's been a lot of like really funny best man speeches that it just like.
Although the last one we went to, I wasn't a big fan of the best man speech. I thought it was very put off.
I couldn't hear.
Couldn't hear it, but what I could hear, it felt very like
the same.
They were talking more about.
Was it a bridesmaid?
They were like trying to talk more about like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I was off. It was off-putting to me.
Oh yeah, I will say not ones I've been to, but I've heard of some like bad best man speeches where they were like
said things they shouldn't
being
have,
passive aggressive or like saying
about like the bride or something. Yeah. I can't believe he married her. I didn't think it was gonna happen.
Or like trying to be funny, but just coming across as like being a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I told
no,
Ian
we were lucky with our
that
speeches.
I wanted him to be the best man. I'm like, yeah, I picked you because I know you're gonna give the best man speech.
I don't really like you. I just know you're a good speaker. So
no, I've been very lucky that I have friends that I've known since I was like a toddler. So it was like there was probably 2 or 3 guys I could have picked.
Oh,
so
yeah. Wasn't that what happened at John's wedding? He had 2 of them.
He had Ian and Chris.
He couldn't choose.
And then me and Ian in like 8th grade were like at the peak of our like friendship, and I wrote in my journal about like my best friend Ian, and I wrote like this long thing, and I remember like I read it remember the rehearsal, and I read it, and then I gave it to him. He was like, "What the hell is this?"
I forgot me and you gave speeches at the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
What the
I
hell?
don't remember anything else at the rehearsal dinner besides
It all went
that.
very fast. I think because you're just concentrating on so many different things and making sure everything is good. I think I was too nervous at the rehearsal dinner. I thought like the priest wasn't going to show up or like the flowers were going to be bad or
Any other creepy aspects of our wedding? Or any creepy aspects? No.
Not of our wedding.
My one friend complained that the hotel was too much, and I'm like, oh,
Too much. Oh, too much money?
too much money.
That was like the cheaper one
Yeah,
in the area.
he was being a jerk.
He's being a jerk.
He didn't come, so.
Oh, he's not even really like.
I know, he's one of the close
I think
friends.
that was his excuse to not go.
That's fine. No, it's fine.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. There was
Planning
no ghosts.
weddings-
There was no ghosts in our.
Planning weddings is very creepy because you get input from everyone.
Oh God. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're going to do this? You can do this? You should do this? And it's like, no. Just chill.
Just chill.
Let us do what we want to do. We're adults.
And it was fine. I do remember the best was my mom said, "You're gonna like do the music that like the older people know in the beginning, right? And not just do like." I think she thought we were gonna play like club music the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then I literally like said that. I said I will make sure the DJ knows that. And so I told the DJ, and he goes, "Oh, do like music in the beginning that everybody knows and can dance to, and then like toward the end do more like party-ish music." And he goes, "Oh, so you mean like every other wedding?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just my mom wanted to make sure that you knew."
Yeah, we had a great.
Like every other wedding, the way that every other wedding is structured music-wise. Okay, I got
remember
it.
Chris,
Like, sure.
Chris and Kevin had a dance off?
Oh my God, that was great.
That was funny.
So great.
Yeah. Would you like to hear some creepy and weird wedding traditions
Yes.
and why they are, how they became about?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
I know you told me some of these.
Yes, I did.
It was funny. I was
And Chad told me
I was
these.
telling James some of them, and he had no idea. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a learning experience for everybody.
Tossing the garter and bouquet. In this
Yeah, what
tradition-
is the garter?
Let me talk and I'll tell you.
Just tell me now.
I don't think it tells you, but let's just listen. In this tradition, the bride tosses her bouquet to a group of single women while the
Or
groom
Scott.
while the groom
Or single gay man.
removes the garter from his bride's leg and tosses it to a group of single men.
It's so
I don't know what the is
weird.
Is it guarding her virginity?
Is
what
that
it's-
yeah, I don't know what a garter is actually. I need to look this
all right?
up.
Let's
What is a garter? Like what is it for?
never been laid to keep the stockings up.
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay, probably doesn't. It's probably not doing that anymore, but
What do you mean?
it probably isn't used to keep stockings up anymore.
No.
It's just
If
a
I don't know
tradition.
about it and I am a woman.
A woman.
So
So the garter toss.
but that's so weird. So you are gonna I remember when they asked us, we did do the bouquet,
yeah,
right? I think.
yeah.
We didn't do the garter because I thought it was weird that you're taking an article of clothing
Ooh.
from me,
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, she's mine now, fellas. Who
Yeah,
wants
nah.
this? Who wants the remains?
Well, I think that's kind of how it started.
The
So,
sniff it night.
oh my god.
This was on her thigh. It's just so weird. I don't know why. I get it. It's tradition.
So the
but
garter
it's
toss
so weird.
likely originated from the medieval bedding ceremony.
Oh God, that was in
Game of
that was
Thrones.
in Game of Thrones
The
too.
bedding.
So weird.
Old school
Again.
couples didn't want to wait long to consummate their marriage. They were expected to do the deed soon after exchanging vows. In some cases, witnesses were required.
What?
The groom was allowed to remove his wife's underthings and fling them to the waiting crowd as evidence of their successful consummation. Yeah, I did it!
It's so weird. Why does anybody care?
I guess if you were waiting till marriage, and
I get
assuming back then most people
I get the being
did.
excited part, but the part with like making sure other people were involved is weird.
because I think it was more along the lines of people were waiting till they were married, and then it was like, all right, first time, woohoo!
I know, but like, why? Like, if somebody was like, "Hey, we're like in
Because people
Game
were
of,
barbarians back then.
like in Game of Thrones, where they like carried them out to force them into a room to like do it right
Yeah.
then. Like, that's weird. I would not want to be involved in that.
That's
with
why they
another
don't do it
person
anymore.
that we know of.
Maybe they'll bring it back. I'm sure it happens somewhere. The first look.
Well, now they do the like send off thing sometimes. Like my sister had that.
Oh, where they like go in the car and like the things behind.
Well, there's that, or there's like some people do the sparklers, and it's basically like when the bride and groom leave the reception. I don't think we did that. We did anything like no, we just had a last song. Like you're supposed to watch the bride and groom leave and like
go to their honeymoon suite.
But you're basically like saying like bye, enjoy like doing
enjoy
it
sex
in your room. Meanwhile, me and you were like, who wants to come hang out with us?
Yeah, we're
gonna play guitar in the room.
Yeah, my friends had played songs
and talk to strangers in the hall.
Stayed up. It was fun. The first look. Some couples choose to do a first look photo shoot where the groom sees the bride in her wedding dress for the first time before the ceremony. While this can be a sweet moment, some people find it strange that the couple is breaking with tradition and seeing other people and seeing others.
Oh, I also know why some people don't like it. So there's this like superstition that if you see the bride or groom or whatever before the wedding, that it's like bad luck to your marriage. But like
whatever.
Sure.
The father giving...
Sure, that's what's going to do
This is what we talked about last night. The father giving away the bride. In this tradition, the bride's father walks her down the aisle and gives her away to the groom. Fathers would give away their daughters as brides to square up debts or settle disputes.
You know, it's funny. It's like when you say, you're like, oh, that's sweet. Like
giving them away.
And then like when you look at her, you're like, oh, that's...
All right, I'll give you my daughter. Is that good?
Can I get the land now?
Modern brides are not being offered up to the groom's family as a bride. At least one would hope not. So the tradition remains as a gesture of goodwill towards the father.
Yeah, I get like reshaping it to be like, it's still patriarchal. It's still patriarchal of being like, I took care of her as the man, and you're the man that will take care of her.
Yeah, I get it. It's very...
I mean, like, to be fair, if my dad was alive, I would definitely have still done it. Like, that's a big moment for a lot of fathers.
Yeah.
I had my mom and brother both walk me down.
They gave you away to me.
And they gave you away. What did they get? Did you give them something? Land or?
Yes. I gave them both. I bought them what is the deed? The
deed to...
no, remember that scam? And you could buy land in Ireland?
Oh, I thought it was Scotland.
Scotland, yeah. I bought them a square foot of land. Creepy wedding photos. Some couples choose to take unusual or creepy wedding photos, such as posing with fake blood or using props like skulls or weapons.
Okay.
That just goes to show you how times have changed.
I do know some people like getting married on Halloween.
Yeah.
I would love to go to a Halloween
When I was
wedding.
looking for like creepy wedding things, a lot of it was like creepy Halloween.
Yeah, because there's some people who love. Yeah. Maybe Melody's gonna get. She loves Halloween already.
Halloween.
She can get married on Halloween.
This is a Southern thing. Burying the bourbon. It is tradition to bury a bottle of bourbon at the wedding venue 1 month before the ceremony to ensure good weather on the wedding day.
That's funny.
We didn't do that.
Do you dig it back up and then drink it on your wedding?
No, the ground absorbs it. The money or dollar dance, which is something we experienced for the first time.
That's it was a Greek thing, right? That they...
Let me explain it. In this tradition, guests pay to dance with the bride or groom, usually by pinning money to their clothing. The money dance is a cultural tradition at many wedding receptions in which guests offer the newlyweds money to dance with them or shower the couple with money. The custom which you'll find variations of in Poland, Greece, Nigeria, Philippines, Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, Portugal, Cuba, Latin America, Mexico, Eastern Europe, and the United States and more is meant to help establish the couple in a new life together or show how much they are loved and appreciated.
It was very interesting. I was torn between thinking that it reminded me of being at a strip club.
It's what I thought.
But it's also cute because it's a tradition.
Yeah.
A cultural tradition. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think we gave any because I didn't know about it. And so I didn't have any
I don't think we
singles.
had dollars. Yeah.
We didn't have any dollars.
And Carrie Benjamin.
Sorry. We gave a check. It's okay. I gave
the tradition of giving an engagement ring dates back to ancient Rome, where a man would give a ring to his betrothed as a symbol of ownership.
It's a symbol of ownership.
Throwing rice.
Oh, yeah.
Well, throwing rice at newlyweds as they exit the ceremony is a traditional way to wish them good luck. Some people find it problematic due to concerns about the impact on wildlife in the environment.
I do remember somebody told me that if a pigeon eats it, they die or apparently or whatever.
As a result, some couples have switched to using alternatives like birdseed, which I think is a little weird.
Yeah,
bubbles
we'd been
and sparklers.
That was at Yammy's wedding. They did bubbles.
All right, here we go. The bride's veil. We also talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
The tradition of wearing a veil dates back to ancient Rome. It was originally intended to protect the bride from evil spirits.
Oh.
And it's a symbol of virginity.
Ah.
Several sources claim wedding veils were used in the case of arranged marriages so that the groom was forced to marry his stranger bride sight unseen, as noted in Richmond Times-Dispatch. It seems veils are a holdover from a time in which weddings were more about a financial transaction than love matches. I always thought a veil is odd.
Yeah, I didn't do one. I think I had one. So, like, the modern way to do it is you could get it, like, in a, what's it called? In, like, a headband, and then it flows behind you.
Yeah.
I think I had one. I thought I had one that did that, but we didn't do the, like, I haven't been to a wedding where they do the face reveal thing.
Yeah. Face reveal.
Face reveal.
Whenever I,
it's the original face reveal.
Whenever I think of the veil, I think of The Office, where Pam ripped hers and then Jim cut his tie.
Oh, yeah. But that's how the way she wore a veil is like the more modern way. It's to pay tribute to tradition, but you don't have to cover your face with it.
Yeah. In some cultures, it is tradition for family members or friends to stand guard outside the newlyweds' bedroom on their wedding night to ensure that the couple consummates the marriage. Yeah. Listening.
Yeah, that's so weird.
It's
like people's moms.
In some weddings, the newlyweds will spend their first night as a married couple in a special honeymoon suite, which it's what you call usually.
Yeah, that's usually still what it's called.
In a time when marriage by capture, aka kidnapping, was common, the groom would hide his bride away for several months until her family gave up the search or she fell pregnant, according to the New York Post.
Oh my God.
Newlyweds would traditionally enjoy mead, a type of drink made from honey, during their first moon, aka month, together, according to Country Living. While this tradition is meant to be romantic and intimate, some people find it creepy or voyeuristic, as they suggest that others are interested in the couple's sexual activity.
Yeah,
Definitely some weird, creepy traditions. And I think they've all developed throughout history because it's a time of like celebration and people are like, is
this annoying? Am I just like the abnormal one? I have no interest in any other couple's sexual activity.
No, I don't think people do that nowadays. But
I bet you some are interested.
Yes, I'm sure that it happens. I'm sure like in some they're like,
also,
all right.
Marriage by capture is a very new term to me.
Yeah.
I believe it, but
also reminds me of The Office where
could you imagine you're just like, oh, how'd you guys get married? It was like, oh, I married her. Marriage by capture.
I got her.
They
kept her away for months.
They gave up looking for
her.
They
tried. They looked. They had the cops come, and I don't know where she is.
And your wife's just like, that's so sweet, honey.
It's so sweet. He took such good care of me. I was locked away in the basement, but it was beautiful. He decorated it really nice. He fed me well. Would you like to hear some creepy weddings that have taken place?
Sure. Although I'm already creeped out by why some of the things have been done in weddings.
Well, in 2014, serial killer Charles Manson was granted a marriage license to marry a 26-year-old woman who had been visiting him in prison. While the wedding never actually took place, the idea of a notorious murderer getting married was not seen kindly by others.
Seen kindly.
In 2018, a couple in Chile got married in a cemetery, with the bride wearing a white dress and black veil, while the couple said they chose the location because it was near their home and had sentimental value, which, okay.
What?
Some people found the choice of a ceremony to be disturbing. Yeah,
people.
That'd be weird.
What,
but again,
a ceremony?
No.
I would love it. I'd be like, this is so different.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what is this? I was just like, I love it. It's different.
In 2019, a couple in Florida got married in a reportedly haunted house. The wedding included spooky decorations, a tarot card reader, and a seance.
That would be kind of cool to have a wedding in a notorious haunted place. Because then you could have stories and nobody would know if they were true or not. You'd be like, they were drunk. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. In 2015, a couple in Thailand got married in a ceremony that featured a corpse bride made of wax.
Oh, God.
The bride wore a traditional white dress, but her face and hands were made of wax to resemble, of course, corpse.
Why?
Yeah, there's a lot. This is just a few of the very unique things that I learned about weddings. In 1283, Alexander, Prince of Wales, married a woman named Margaret de la Haye in a ceremony known as the Black Wedding. The wedding was held in a castle
Not the red wedding?
that had previously been the site of a massacre, and it was said that during the ceremony, a ghostly apparition appeared and cursed the couple. Alexander died shortly after the wedding, and some people believe that the curse was to blame.
I probably would too if I saw a ghost that said that we were cursed. I'd be like, well, we're probably not living long now. Something's going to happen to us.
In the 19th century, a man in Brazil reportedly held...
Wait, I take back what I said. I don't want to get married in a haunted place.
Okay, good.
You know, in case we ever get married again.
Yeah. Renew our vows.
Renew our vows. Oh, we can do it all over again.
Good. We'll go on a month-long honeymoon.
Yeah, there you go.
In the 19th century, a man in Brazil reportedly held a wedding ceremony for himself and his beloved horse.
Okay.
The man claimed that the horse was his soulmate and that he wanted to show his commitment to her.
All right.
I think that's something that happens where people marry animals.
Is it? I don't think it's legal.
Maybe in Brazil it is.
Oh, God.
In 2012, a couple in Mexico held a wedding ceremony that included a mock human sacrifice. The groom dressed up as a Mayan priest and pretended to sacrifice the bride before a group of guests. While the couple claimed that the ceremony was a tribute to their heritage, many people found it to be offensive and disturbing.
It's so romantic. Why did you do that on our wedding?
Pretend to sacrifice you to the gods?
In front of could you imagine? In front of our friends.
All right, everyone, we're going to do something a little different now. Everyone, come on in. People come in with robes and torches.
That would be an amazing...
We're going to do a sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice Lauren now. Don't worry, it's pretend.
I'm just like picturing if I went to a wedding and somebody did that. I don't even know.
Not very
what my
nonchalantly.
reaction would be. Yeah, just like no big deal when this happens.
Yeah. It's like right after you say, I do and kiss, and like, all right. You just
okay,
wait.
Lay down.
Like, you go like this, and like people come in like robes with like torches. And,
and you're just sitting there in your like nice dress, like looking around. What's happening? I would have thought I was in Game of Thrones. I probably would have PTSD from watching Game of Thrones. If that happened, I would get up and run out of that building. I'd be like, something not good is gonna happen.
There was
a wedding.
Some of the stuff I didn't include was like there was a couple who had a Game of Thrones style wedding, which I thought was like cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was great. Well, that's pretty cool.
That would freak me out though. I would be like,
you hear the music.
Every wedding.
All of a sudden the music that
God.
When everyone got killed starts playing. Kind of like my closing arguments here. One of the things, the way I looked at it was that like I got tired of not tired of, but like when I didn't want to keep calling Lauren my girlfriend because you felt more to me than that. That's why for me, like I wanted to get married, to call you my wife or to be engaged, fiance. Yeah,
it is weird that like I guess it's just the way that you like grow up. But like if somebody calls somebody a boyfriend or girlfriend, I definitely don't take it as serious as a relationship than if they say husband and wife. And there's really like not. The only difference that stands between the two labels is like some sort of ceremony and or paperwork.
Yeah, but in the end...
But it's also you choosing to take that next step, which makes me see and be like, oh, you want to be in this for like the long haul.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you don't decide to do that, and like everybody's different.
And then a lot of people look like, oh, I don't want to spend... You want to spend your life with one person and like... I mean, I get if you haven't found that person, and yeah, but for me at least it was...
Or like, just some people just don't want that.
Yeah.
But then don't be mad if people don't see a relationship as serious.
I just personally...
But you also need to be in a relationship with somebody who also doesn't want that. If you're in a relationship with somebody who wants to get married and you don't, it is not going to work.
Yeah. I just personally find it odd when you're with someone for a long time and you aren't married or don't want to get married. It's something to me that like I would want to be like, oh, this is my partner, this is my wife, my husband, but it's just how I feel about it. It's my closing thoughts.
That's like I'm very big on the fact, and it's funny because people it's usually men combat me on this point, but I said like, especially if you have a child, if you I don't know, it's a bumpy road because I was like, I want to advocate for people to get married because they had a child. But I'd say like if you were in a long-term relationship with somebody, you were living with them, you had a child with them, and you're intending to like be together to raise these children, or just because you still love each other, like why not just get married? What like But I said my problem is like there's people that like, and it's funny because I've been finding a lot of Instagram posts about this where the mom has a different last name than the whole rest of her family. Like then the husband and the children all have the same last name and you don't. And I am a huge advocate 4. If I had a child,
If you birthed the child.
if I birthed and carried that child and you don't want to marry me after I birthed and carried your child and I want to get married.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to force it. I wouldn't force somebody to get married if I was having their child.
Yeah.
But I would say, okay, that's fine. The child is going to have my last name because legally I am like the main caretaker of this child. I have the most legal rights to this child being the mother. Not saying that's fair or not, but
yeah.
But I do. If you decide to leave me, I'm most likely getting custody of our child. I'm not having my child have a different last name than me if you're not going to like be in it for like commit to being in long haul.
Yeah. It feels like even when you changed your last name when we got married,
yeah, I hated it. I was so mad about process. All of
it. It wasn't like something I was pushing. It was more so. It was more so for like simplicity.
I think if we decided we were never going to have children, I might have thought about it longer and been like, then what's the point? Like, it is
odd though. It is odd that that's like.
Yeah, but now that we have children, I would like to be called like one family unit.
Yeah.
Like we're a unit.
But that's why like I kind of like when they like hyphenate a name or like have both last names. I don't mind that. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
again, that's just an old historic thing.
Yeah, it's
that like people because it's the same thing. It's like men were the ones that owned land and were in charge.
Yeah.
So like you had to fall. You were owned by them in a way back in the day. So you and your children, because they were in charge of you, had to fall under their umbrella. Whereas like nowadays, that's not how it goes. So
and it's definitely changing. I feel like, because someone I know, former football player, he changed his last name
to hers.
He hyphenated it.
Oh,
which I thought was very cool. Well, he's a very unique character, but I think it's cool. I like seeing when things break tradition that it's not really affecting anyone. It's just
I don't need it. It's just
symbolism.
If something began like we talking about a lot of the wedding traditions, it's like a lot of these traditions were based off of like weird things that like don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So what does it matter if you decide you're like, hey, this doesn't apply anymore. Why am I going to do it just because everybody?
That's the way it was, and that's what we're gonna do. Hope you enjoyed our opinions on weddings and marriage.
Yeah, you can read.
We are opinionated on this topic.
We are opinionated for some reason, even though we were married and done with it. It's because we have to go to them still.
We have to go.
We have to go.
We get to go. Whenever you say that,
I know. I have to retrain my brain. I get to go.
Privileged to go.
Yes, I get to go.
And remember,
everything is creepy, or else we're just going to keep talking about weddings for another hour.